They tried to say that it only takes 20 hours to mow it. Well, I got an email that,
No, I think he said 20 hours or a little over 20 hours a week that was dedicated to the mowing on average. I think the total was 41 hours
It was on average.
on average, about 41 hours to mow, you know,
The whole works.
to mow everything.
Yeah.
And then he tried to break it out. But I think it would be best, Roger, if you could meet with Steve and show him the numbers and make the, you know, make your case with actual numbers rather than
Well,
you
I
know,
think-
conjecture.
I think Steve should probably come back with something and show us.
You need
With
to,
2014 hourly wage.
I think if you can show Steve the areas that are concerned to you and just talk it over with him, that can be handled offline. You know, I think that would be the better way to handle it. So that, because in a half an hour or 45 minutes, you can hash it out, and then we're not taking a lot of Steve's time to create something that may not meet what you're looking at, exactly what you're looking at.
Oh, we can do that.
I think that this was a good thing to look at, Roger, and I understand where you're going with this, but I do think that we've used a lot of Steve's time, we've used a lot of Dave's time. And I agree with Vern, if you wanna go talk to Steve about it, that's fine, but those guys have spent several hours, and that's costing us money too. Getting this project, doing the numbers, doing the background research.
Well, it come out costing more than Myers bid.
What's the question again?
But
Larry?
less than 10%.
Less than 10%.
That was using 2013 wages too. And Kurt's wages were in there, that's how that figured in. So if you put in 2014 wages and leave Kurt's out of there, that price goes up.
It doesn't. How can it go up when you're using cheaper wages?
You're gonna be
You're
going
not
from,
using cheaper wages, listen to what I got to say. We eliminated Kurt's,
Right.
okay?
But Roger, we decided at the last meeting that we were going to make every effort to keep this in the city's hands, drive the cost as low as we possibly could by utilizing seasonal part-time labor.
Well, that's good.
That should drastically reduce the expense that the city pays out every summer for mowing. Plus, another benefit, I think, that we need to keep in mind is that we're gonna have a few extra hours that part-time seasonal help can work with Dave on the levee remediation work.
Okay,
So,
I'm in favor of that if we can cut the cost. But what I'm saying is, I went back there and I figured it out, it's only looking like $300 that we're gonna save on the part-time labor. And is that worth it? When you can get a man to come in there and do it all in 1 day time? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I
Plus
think,
we don't have the depreciation on the machinery or anything then. Fuel cost, repairs, all this.
well, I think you need to sit in with Steve and just hash it out a little bit more, and then we can make the decision in March, the first meeting in March. Beating a dead horse, I think.
This, we are beating a totally dead horse. The Myers bid doesn't beat it. Period.
What do you mean it doesn't?
It
did
doesn't,
too.
it,
It was $18.95.
but there isn't the 10% savings.
Where is the 10% savings? Where is it?
There isn't one,
There
No,
isn't
there
one.
isn't.
and therefore it's a dead
It's
issue.
a dead issue.
If they couldn't beat it
If
by 10%.
it doesn't demonstrate a 10% savings, we reject it.
We're contractually obligated.
We're
to do that.
contractually obligated.
The
You
way-
signed that contract along with everybody else.
The way I
You approved
understood,
it.
that the city had to come in 10% less than the
No.
other bid.
No, the
No.
bid has to come in 10% less than the city.
To privatize it, the private company has to be able to do the work 10% less than the
Well,
city.
they did. They did. That 1895 versus 2000 something.
No, they didn't.
And then furthermore,
What was the cost per time, Kathy? If you divided that out, it wasn't 10%.
1895 versus 20,058. And that was 1895, 8%.
that was, and that was using 2013 wages.
And
What
then-
I'm saying is, it could be higher if you use 2014 wages. I'm no mathematical king, but you can add that, put that together.
So when you hire part-time labor
We're-
and
we're
they're
not
cheap,
talking
and they're,
about
and they're
part-time now.
cheaper than what you're paying Kurt, and you plug those numbers in, it's gonna cost more.
More?
That's what,
What's gonna cost more?
Myers.
Maybe. Just right, maybe.
Based on what we talked about, that's why I'm a little confused too, but based on what we had talked about, if we stick to our plan of using seasonal part-time help to accomplish, 90% of the mowing, and understand that there's some that we may not want them to do, that, in some of those more dangerous areas. That's fine, we have to be safety conscious. But what I'm saying is that if it still doesn't make sense in your mind, then let's get with Steve again and figure it out.
I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you guys, but you used 2013 wages, they came back with. Why didn't they come back with 2014 wages?
I
You
think,
told him not to, am I right?
I think we
Oh,
talked
who
about
not
that.
to?
if you wanted to use factual numbers, is what I understand.
That's right.
Those are factual provable numbers.
We sat right here,
Well, the
Steve, looked at
2014
Chevron,
wages
said
would
you
be
gotta use apples
provable
to
too.
apples.
That's already on the
2014
schedule,
wages
but.
was not figured in there, was it, Dave?
No, it wasn't.
So are you gonna pay
2013.
a part-time guy the same that you were paying Kurt? No. You're gonna pay part-time seasonal less. Therefore, your wage goes down.
Right.
So what are we arguing about?
We're arguing about this bid did not come in at the right cost. That we used 2013 wages when the city put their bid in against Myers.
I move that
Could I
we,
get a motion to
I
accept
move
number
that we
one?
reject Myers Lawn Service and maximizing seasonal part-time employees.
I have a bid, do I have a second?
Motion.
Yeah, but
I have a motion, do I have a second? Excuse me, I have a motion, do we have a second? That was hysterical. I have a motion, do I have a second? Second time, I have a motion, do I have a second? Last time, last call, I have a motion, do I have a second to accept option one? I will second the motion
good, thank you.
to accept the bid, to accept option one.
What I would suggest is that we maybe just let Roger get with Steve, hash it out, make sure that Roger feels comfortable about it so that it doesn't come up again. And then, if we can do this in the next week to 10 days, then all I'm saying is then we, at that point, we've got enough time, we can still authorize Steve to send a letter